Hello children, how are you all? Hope very happy, very good. So here I am with my next video for class 8 science on the topic microorganisms. Here we are starting a new chapter, microorganisms. So let's begin right away. Now, first of all, let's understand the word microorganisms. This word is made up of two words, one word being micro and organisms. The word organisms stands for living beings. Okay? All the living beings are referred to as organisms, like we are also a type of organism. And the word micro means very small. So here in this chapter, we will be dealing with extremely small living organisms. Is that clear? This is the meaning of the chapter. Now, when we say the word microorganisms, it means that these organisms are microscopic. Microscopic means that these can be seen with the help of a microscope. Now, what is a microscope? A microscope is an instrument which is used to enlarge any object 1,000 times, more than 1,000 times, so it becomes big enough so that we can see it. Otherwise, microorganisms are invisible to the naked eye. The word naked eye is used for the fact that we are not using any assistance with the eye. We are not using a lens, we are not using a microscope, simply we are seeing with our eyes. The word is called naked eye. Therefore, the microorganisms are not visible to us if we want to see them just like this. At this moment also, everywhere around us there are huge number of microorganisms, but we cannot see them because they are microscopic in size. They are so small that our eyes cannot see those objects. In order to see such living organisms or any such object which is so small in size, we require a microscope. Lens is also not enough because the magnifying power of the lens, the power of the lens to increase the size of the object is not enough to make the microorganisms big enough that we can see them. Therefore, instead of lens, a microscope is used. Now, how is a microscope made? Microscope is a combination of lenses. It consists of a number of lenses combined together in such a way that the magnifying power of the lens is very high and it can increase the size of the objects to such a size that we can see them through the microscope. If you have seen a microscope has an eyepiece at the top and it is from here that we view. Then at the base is a stage, and in between the entire thing there are combination of lenses which help us to magnify any object placed on the stage with the help of a slide, gets magnified n number of times for us to see it easily. Now we will discuss the different types of microorganisms which are present in nature. So first we will see the categories of microorganisms. You must have heard of the word that she is suffering from a bacterial infection, or very common these days, coronavirus. Okay, so virus is also a type of microorganism. Now we are going to study the categories of microorganism, in which the first category is bacteria. Then we have algae. Then we have bacteria, algae. Then we have protozoa. We have fungus. or fungi. Fungi is the plural of fungus. And we have virus. Alright. So these are the categories of microorganisms, and I will explain these categories to you one by one, starting with bacteria. Before starting this, let me tell you that these microorganisms are present almost everywhere in the world. By everywhere, I mean to say that they are present in the hottest environment, to the coldest environment, driest environment, to the wettest environment, which means that they are present in forest, in damp areas, in the Antarctica where there is ice all the time, at the poles where it is frozen, then in the ocean, in the fresh water, in the air, whether it is cold or it is hot, they can survive in a huge variety of climate. And hence they are so omnipresent. Omnipresent means present everywhere. And one more thing, that as we hear these names, it appears to us that these are only harmful, they only cause disease. But we have useful microorganisms also, we have harmful microorganisms also. After understanding microorganisms, next we will study the useful microorganisms once and the harmful microorganisms once. But for now, let us understand what are these different categories of microorganisms, beginning first with bacteria. Bacteria are unicellular microorganisms. Unicellular means made up of a single cell. The body of this is made up of just a single cell, and we know that cells are extremely small in size, and hence we require a microscope to see this. Bacteria come in different shape, and according to the shapes they have been put in different categories. Like we have cocci bacteria, which are spherical in shape. We have the bacillus bacteria, which are rod shaped. We also have spirilla, which are spiral in shape. Like this, we categorize the bacteria, and bacteria are present almost everywhere in every habitat, and they are both beneficial and harmful to us. Few examples to quote over here are examples like the lactobacillus bacteria, and one bacteria you have studied in the previous chapter of crop production, the Rhizobium bacteria. So these are the examples of bacteria, and we have to understand this, that they come in different shapes. After this, we come to the next category, which is algae. Now, algae may be unicellular or they may be multicellular. When a number of cells come together, it becomes multicellular. So, now important characteristic of algae is that, let me erase this bacteria, otherwise you will get confused. So, the important characteristic of algae is that they are plant-like organisms. They are plant-like. When we say plant-like, the main features of plants are that they have a cell wall and they have chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is an essential component of the plants, and it is with the help of the chlorophyll that the plants carry on photosynthesis and are able to make their own food. So, these algae, because they contain chlorophyll, they have the ability to make their own food, and hence they are autotrophic in nature. Autotrophic means ability to make their own food with the help of sunlight. This you have studied also. So these are the main features of algae. They are plant-like, have cell wall, have chlorophyll, and hence are autotrophic, may be unicellular or multicellular. Examples are Volvox and Nostoc. There are more examples, but for you, learning 2 examples of each category will be enough for this particular class. Is this clear? Then we will move on to the next category, protozoa. Protozoa are animal-like microorganisms. Okay, so this is the difference between algae and protozoa also, that protozoa are animal-like, and because they are animal-like, therefore they have no cell wall and they have no chlorophyll. And if they do not have chlorophyll, they do not make their own food, therefore they depend on other organisms for food, and therefore they are heterotrophic in the mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic means to take nutrition from other organisms. And the examples of protozoa are, these are, you have heard these, amoeba, paramecium. These are the examples of protozoa. Okay. So next we will move on to the next category, the fungi or the fungus. So let this go. I hope these 3 categories are clear to you. Next we will move on to the next category, the fungus. Now, fungus are non-chlorophyllous. Means they do not have chlorophyll and hence they do not make their own food. One more important property of fungus is that they feed on dead and decaying matters. Feed on dead and decaying matter. One common example of fungus is the bread mold. You must have seen that during the rainy season, our food items like bread get a greenish mass over it, greenish, then which turns to brown, and then the bread goes stale. That growth on the bread is of a fungus called bread mold. Similarly, this fungus can grow on leather, that is a dead matter. It can grow on like leather shoes, leather belts, and therefore it is a non-chlorophyllous heterotrophic mode of nutrition. It follows heterotrophic mode of nutrition, means cannot manufacture its own food but depends on other organisms for food. One example I have told you, bread mold, which is also called rhizopus. Now don't get confused between rhizobium, which is a bacteria, and rhizopus, which is a fungus, common name being bread mold. And then we have one more fungus, penicillium. This is a useful fungus because it helps to make penicillin, a vaccine called penicillin. Okay, so these are the examples of fungus. Then we move on to the last category, virus. This word, listening these days, gives us goosebumps because it is causing havoc all around the world. So the viruses are also microorganisms and they are very different from the other organisms, and study about these is still incomplete because viruses are between non-living and living, and therefore finding or understanding the exact nature of virus is difficult. Viruses have a unique property that when they are outside the body of any living organism, they are non-living, and once they gain entry into the body of living organism, they become living organisms. Therefore, when the virus gains entry into the body, it takes some time for this virus to adapt to the cells of the body. It starts using the cells of that living organism, and there it becomes living and functional and multiplies rapidly. Okay? When this virus comes out from the body of the living organism, because it has taken up living matter, it remains alive for some time and slowly it dies. As you have been listening these days that this virus lives for these many hours on the plastic, it lives for these many hours on the hand. So this is the reason why it survives for different time on different surfaces, because when it comes out from the living organism, it is still active and lives for some time and then dies, because outside the living organisms it is non-living. And because it adapts and uses the cells of the living organism, therefore making a medicine to destroy these viruses is very difficult, because that medicine will also destroy the healthy cells of the living organism, and hence it is difficult to make medicine for this also. Now if I ask you example of this, very quickly you will give me the example. You have recently studied the example of the virus. Which one? Coronavirus. And one more example is, so one example which I think you will never forget is coronavirus, because this widespread pandemic we all are experiencing and all are suffering. The world is suffering because of this coronavirus. Then another type of virus, don't get confused. That's why I'm giving you this example, bacteriophage. The name is coming from bacteria, but this is a virus. Okay, so we have studied 5 categories of microorganisms: bacteria, algae, protozoa, fungi and virus. And I also told you that they are mostly unicellular, but sometimes these organisms live together close to each other. That is referred to as colony. Now a colony is a cluster of cells. All the cells are different, means individual, but when they come close to each other, they can be seen with the help of naked eye. For example, very common example, you have seen fungus growing on the bread. I just quoted this example to you also. The fungus growing on the bread we can see easily with the naked eye. Then only we say that the bread is spoiled, which does not mean that these bread mold fungus are very big in size. It is only because they are living in colonies, they are so close to each other that we can see them with the naked eye. If we have to see the structure of the individual fungus, then definitely we need a microscope to see it. I hope the information about all the different types of microorganisms is clear to you. So keep safe at home, keep studying, and don't forget to like, subscribe and share my video with your friends all around, your friends and relatives, so that they can also be benefited. Thank you.